Coming up next on Access Framingham TV, Japan, with my guests Julia Rabkin and her husband Richard Lappin. Stay tuned. Welcome to Travels with Jack. I'm your host, Jack Barron. If you would like to be a guest on our show and share with us a recent trip, a vacation, a cruise, maybe a day trip right here in New England, we would love to have you as our guest. You can talk about the transportation, the hotels, the shopping, the good food you enjoyed, the people that you met. Anything you'd like to share with your friends and our viewing audience. Just contact us here at Access Framingham Television and let us know you'd like to be a guest. You can phone AFTV at 508-875-5434, or you can send an email message to info@accessfram.tv. One of our associate producers will be in touch with you to make arrangements for you to be on our show here on Access Framingham Television. Today, my guests are Julia Rabkin and her husband Richard Lappin. Richard's son Andrew and his Japanese, now wife, Makiko, announced their engagement and told Julia and Richard that they were planning a Japanese wedding ceremony and a U.S. wedding ceremony. The first of those ceremonies was in Tokyo in June 2014, and of course, Julia and Richard were there. They took that opportunity to visit other parts of Japan, and they will share with us the beautiful sights of that country. Welcome, Julia and Richard.
Thank you.
Japan is wonderful. I can't wait to talk to you, but let me fill our audience in a little bit. Julia Rabkin is a Boston native, and Richard Lappin is a Cherry Hill, New Jersey native. They are a married couple today who reside in Charlestown, I should say. Julia works with the Bank of America, specializing in banking relationships with nonprofit organizations. And Richard is the Chief Financial Officer for the Society of St. John the Evangelist Episcopal Monastery. Did I get that correct?
You got it perfect.
Okay. As I stated a little earlier, the trip to Japan that they will be sharing us was precipitated by the marriage of Richard's son, Andrew, and Makiko, his now wife. And they had a Japanese wedding, a rabbinical wedding, and a Brookline City Hall Justice of the Peace wedding. So a trifecta in the wedding business. Richard is an avid chess player and is a tournament bridge player, which I'm very impressed with. And Julia is a terrific cook, which, as those of you know, I'm always interested in food. And she has a great interest in food and is also a ballet devotee. They met, interestingly enough, folks. I'm not supposed to say this, but Richard was looking for a loan for one of his clients, and Julia was the banker. And he convinced her to marry him, and the loan went through. But anyway, that's between us. Now, welcome. See, I got a smile out of both of them. So tell me a little bit, the pictures will come up when Bill, as soon as Bill runs them. Tell me a little bit about your trip to Japan. Where did you start? Boston?
We started in Boston. I'll tell you the worst part about the trip to Japan was getting there.
Okay.
It's a long flight.
Yep.
And I would say it took, I don't know, I can't even tell you how long it took. That's how long it took.
About 13 hours.
But eventually, after stopping in New York,
Okay, so Boston to New York.
and then New York to Tokyo,
Oh, you did get nonstop New York to Tokyo.
and then
Oh, that's not so
Tokyo
bad.
to Osaka, which
You
is
flew Tokyo to Osaka?
yes,
Okay.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
they're not all that far.
it's a couple hundred miles away.
Okay.
So it would have been
So that's where you went, Osaka.
that's where we
first.
started.
Right.
Okay.
Because that's where you fly, I guess, if you're going to Kyoto, and that's where we
Oh,
started.
the wedding was in Kyoto. No. All right, tell me. Keep going. So you got to Osaka.
And then we drove to Kyoto, which is where we were sightseeing.
You drove yourself.
No.
No, okay. I was saying, boy, this couple's gutsy.
No.
Go ahead. You had a driver.
Yeah, we were driven to Kyoto.
Okay.
And then we went to sleep for a while.
Oh, so you didn't even sleep till you got to Kyoto.
It's hard to sleep on
That
a
is a
plane.
long day.
Yeah. If you're flying business class or first class, which we do in our minds only,
Okay.
it's a little easier to sleep on a
But
plane.
even so, you were lucky. The New York to Tokyo flight is, that's fast
Yeah.
compared to,
Stopping.
I think
yeah.
the last time I went to Tokyo was a few years ago, and we went through Los Angeles.
Mm-hmm.
So we went Boston, LA. It was a hike,
A schlep.
a schlep.
It's a schlep.
All right, so you got to Kyoto, and did you stay with family, friends, hotel? What was your situation there?
We stayed at a hotel that was actually right kind of on top of Kyoto Station, the
Oh,
train
okay.
station,
Oh,
which is a
okay.
pretty busy station.
Yep.
It was a nice hotel.
Oh, good.
Was it the Granvia?
It was the Grand Via,
Yeah.
and it was incredibly convenient to
Everything.
downtown
Yeah.
Kyoto.
Yeah.
And it was there was very good access to the tours that we went on.
Yeah.
Kyoto, of course, is a very historic city
Mhm.
by Japan standards. I think, are your photos going to, as soon as they come up.
We do have some photos of the older part of Kyoto.
Yes, because I think there's some very important shrines in Kyoto. And
There are.
Yeah.
There are. I think I certainly wouldn't pretend to be an expert on the history of any of the cities we
That's all right.
visited. But
We can make it up, though.
But
here's a map, and this shows Japan. So as our viewers can see, it was quite a hike from Boston there, and there's Kyoto which is between, I guess, essentially Tokyo and Osaka. I guess is a fair way to point it out. And they have that fabulous bullet train. Did you get on the bullet train?
we did.
Yeah, what do you think of that?
It's pretty fast.
It moves you right along,
It
doesn't
does.
It
It
does.
does.
it? Okay, this is what?
This is Nijo Castle in
Oh,
Kyoto.
you're good. You got the official names and
Oh,
everything.
well, I took notes. But at Nijo Castle, and it was, I guess it was built for a shogun. Again,
Yep.
I can't promise to be an expert here, but one of the really cool things about this place was that the floors of the palace are constructed, it's called a Nightingale Floor, and the floors of the palace are constructed in such a way so that when you step on the boards, they make these chirping noises, so nobody could sneak up on the shogun. And this was a way to
Stick
protect...
a knife in them.
Right, exactly, to protect against assassinations or anything like that. So as you're being sort of herded around the palace on the tour, you hear the little chirp, 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 chirp on the floor everywhere you go, which was pretty neat.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah, and this is the garden that goes along. Of course, there's a beautiful garden that's associated with the Nijo Castle.
Gee, the pictures are beautiful.
Yeah. And this is the famous Golden Pavilion. It's a Zen Buddhist temple in Kyoto. It's.
Did you check to see if they needed a CFO while you were there?
I left my card.
I think the Japanese name is Kinkakuji, but it's the Golden Pavilion.
That was built in the 16th century, I
Oh,
believe.
really?
Yeah.
So it's a good 550 years old. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, not
And
bad.
this is a bridge through the garden.
Yeah, this was actually the garden of. We visited the Kyoto Imperial Palace, and I think this was a picture in the garden of that particular palace. There are many really stunning gardens.
Yes.
I have to
Were
say.
you
in
impressed
Japan.
there?
Oh, beautiful. Just
Yes.
beautiful. And this was, I don't remember the name, but it was a Buddhist temple.
A Buddhist shrine, I would
Yeah.
say. It really, in the midst of downtown Kyoto, you just sort of walk along the street, store here, store there, shrine.
Yeah.
And one could go in there and perform some sort of prayer, I guess, which we did. Part of the ritual involves flowing water. So what you see there are cups that you dip into the flowing water, and you take a sip, you wash your hands, you make a wish, and that's what you do.
Yeah. It's just so pretty.
Yes. And this is again
The same. It's the same Buddhist temple. Yeah.
Is it possible that those are prayers written there?
It might be. It might be. Again, if anybody's,
I know they do in Buddhism burnt offerings. In other words, you would take like an MBTA ticket and you'd burn it to send it to them up in the afterlife, so they would have a train ticket.
So the transit gods would look after you?
Right.
Or...
Yeah. And they have I remember, I think it was in China, they had little fake cell phones, paper mache cell phones.
oh my goodness.
Yeah. And you'd burn the paper mache cell phone so that in the afterlife they would have a cell phone to use. So I do remember that. But okay, this is...
Same. I was just pretty interested. I just thought things were so pretty. The same Buddhist temple. I'm not exactly sure what it means,
is
but
terrific.
yeah.
You both took the pictures, or
I did, and this was just with an iPhone.
You're kidding? Really? We should get them as a sponsor. These photos are great.
I took no picture.
Now we had a walking tour of this market in Kyoto called the Nishiki Market. And it's a food market. It's basically a long covered market, a long corridor, a covered market, with all these vendors along both sides. And it was completely fascinating. At some of the booths, we literally had no idea what they were selling, but there were plenty of locals buying and tasting and all that. It was really, really fascinating. So I took about 1 million photos there.
Yeah, no, the food in Japan. Well, I eat everywhere, but Japan has beautiful food.
Yeah.
And I don't know if did you go into the bottom of any of like the department stores? Oh my God, they have these
food halls.
apples, this big, and
for I don't know how many thousand yen.
the prices are pretty high.
Yeah.
Well, we saw a melon there for the equivalent of, what was it, $50?
Oh, really?
It was a really pretty melon.
It's a very attractive melon.
But, yeah.
Well, they get... this is a special candy store.
No idea what. Maybe pickles.
Okay.
There were little bowls out, and you could sample.
Oh, he did give you samples.
Yeah, and we were with a guide. I think was he Australian? I think he might have been Australian. So he did this walking tour routinely, so he knew a lot of the vendors and knew sort of what was customary, and said it was okay for us to sample. And but half the time we had not a clue what we were eating, but most of it was actually quite tasty.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was certainly colorful.
Oh, that's nice. Oh, this is a good picture of that. This is the food market.
Yeah.
Well, you get a better sense of how long
it was, right.
the market is, and this is the width, and this is all there is. It's just probably a quarter mile long with a.
It was that long?
Yeah, with an aisle in the middle and booths, stores, and restaurants along each side.
So like a little bit like a Faneuil Hall, except
yeah, except it was food and.
Well, Faneuil Hall has food.
Yeah, but not
now.
The same.
This fellow's cooking what?
I bought some. I recall it looked almost like
hibachi stuff or
it,
something.
it looked almost like a peanut brittle,
Oh,
but
really?
it wasn't peanut brittle. But it
Okay.
had some kind of bean and some kind of crunchy.
Oh.
It was kind of a good snack
That's what
actually,
I love
but I
about-
have not a
that's
clue
one of
what
my
it
favorite
was.
things when I go away is all the different foods you see, and
Mm-hmm.
oh, I never tried this or that. It's oh, look at more.
Yeah, now I'm not sure if this was candy or exactly what, but again, it was just so pretty. Colorful, interesting shapes.
It does. It looks like dessert stuff. This looks more like nuts, I think.
Yeah, I'm not sure that it was, but again, I really had no idea what some of the things were. Now, this is an egg vendor.
Okay.
See, there's the banner up there that has the chicken. You can sort of see the rooster with
okay.
and those eggs. I just thought that was so pretty, and I was pretty psyched that I actually recognized what they were.
Oh, I like that. You don't even need to read Japanese.
Right,
That's
exactly.
The chicken and those are the eggs.
Exactly.
Did they negotiate with you at all in pricing?
We didn't really buy very much.
Okay.
We did buy some fried, I guess, seafood.
Fish. It
Yeah,
was fish.
fried fish.
On a
But
stick.
no, we just kind of paid what.
Well, I don't think we paid at all. I think the guide actually.
Because I guess the cost of the tour included some
Oh, okay.
sampling,
Oh, good.
a certain amount
That's,
of.
you know something. Sometimes that's a great way
Right.
to do these trips.
Right.
Is if you have a great guide. I always like to have a guide.
Yes.
They cut out a lot of wasted time, and in my case, where I would argue with my wife because she'd say, "Do you know where we're going?" and I go, "Yes," and then of course I don't or something.
Yeah.
So with the guide, I go, "Well, ask him."
Yeah.
Well, it was very helpful because he spoke Japanese and was able to steer us in the right direction.
Now this is more. This looks like seafood, maybe.
Yeah, I
Is
think
that
it's seafood. It's fried
okay.
seafood. Yeah.
And I think I see a little shrimp maybe up in the sign.
It kind of looks like a little shrimp. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
Oh, the fish.
More fried goodies.
yeah. Oh, the tempura.
So that looks like fish on a stick.
Yeah.
I think. And it was quite tasty.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I think there's a photo. Yeah.
Oh, now this
Here we are.
is that Andrew?
No, that's our guide.
Oh, that's
our
the guide.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, our guide, and then Richard, and I'm, of course, chomping on something that was very tasty.
I figured that could be about Andrew's age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could be.
No, not Andrew.
Oh,
There was a flower vendor, and I just thought those were the
They
prettiest hydrangeas I had ever seen. So took a picture of that. And this is one of the entrances of the market. It says Nishiki up
Yes.
on the top there, and there's that pretty banner. So I just wanted to take a picture of the entrance there. Oh, it's hard to see. This is a welcome cat. A lot of
really?
there's a Japanese symbol. It's a cat, often with a paw raised, and it's
Oh, I never knew that.
it's beckoning good luck. And apparently, the right paw raised means it's beckoning good luck and good fortune to a business.
okay.
And so I'm not even sure what this was, but this was in the old part of Kyoto. And I like cats, so I just thought that was kind of a cute welcome cat.
And this looks like an entrance to a restaurant.
Yeah, it was just, I thought it was very attractive. This was also in the old part of Kyoto. I think it's called the Geion District. It's sort of the
Oh,
geisha
the memory's so
district.
good. You remember all the.
Oh, well, I have notes.
That's all right.
Same thing, just a beautiful, beautiful curtains there, and the lantern, the way the lanterns are placed, I just thought it was lovely.
Oh, the food time.
Yeah.
And this was lunch somewhere.
Looks like a big
this
lunch,
was-
Richard.
Yeah, it was good. I think this might have been in a department store food court, which are different than department store food courts in the United States. I can't quite remember.
Yeah, it was above Kyoto Station. On an upper floor of one of these big department stores had, it must have been like 15 little restaurants, different kinds of ramen, tempura, teppanyaki. They all had their own little specialty burgers.
Yes.
And we chose this place and kind of over-ordered because, of course, we wanted to try everything. But you go up to looks like not an ATM, but a little machine, and you press the button for the food that you want, and you stick your money
like
in.
an automat. Okay, go ahead.
A ticket comes out,
Yeah.
and then you hand the ticket to the attendant.
So you prepay.
Right.
Oh, I never saw
And then
that.
they bring you your food at your table.
I got it. Oh, there you are.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Busy with the noodles. You're good. You got the chopsticks and everything.
Yeah, well, this is not a video, so you don't see.
Is that a beer I see next to
It is
you?
a beer.
Good.
It is a beer.
Good.
Yeah. Japanese beer, very good.
You liked it.
Yep, very good. Exactly. And this was just a shot of one of the restaurants on the top floor of that department store.
So the machine, they had you pay ahead of time.
Yes. Yep.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
We're doing that now a little bit with smartphones. I don't know if you've seen that, where you can, have you seen that? Where you have apps like from Wendy's or McDonald's,
Yep.
and you can pre-enter your dinner or your lunch.
Sounds
and
like
yeah.
a pretty
Yeah.
good
send it
idea.
to them,
Yeah.
and then you use your phone to tap and pay.
Yep.
Sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, no,
Yep.
that's
Definitely.
pre-order. They get their money ahead of time. They should be happy. The train.
The bullet train.
Yes.
Yes. We took the bullet train we were taking a tour to
Hiroshima.
Hiroshima.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So we took the bullet train to Hiroshima.
Oh,
That's right.
okay. And so tell me, what do you think?
Notice the long snout.
I do.
On the bullet train, because it goes really fast. Although I think the Japanese are very dissatisfied with the bullet train because now the TGV in France goes faster than the bullet train, and so the Japanese are in the process of
Making faster?
of installing a much faster train, but that will come obviously after we were there. But it made me wonder, being on the bullet train, why can't Amtrak do this? It was hyper efficient. I would
know
say.
it. They have great train service.
yeah.
Spectacularly so. They tell you where to stand for your assigned seat in the train, and there's a little footprint on the waiting area where people put their feet
In line.
and in line,
Neatly in line.
and lo and behold, that's where the door opens.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
I thought it was
Well, I think we are, as a country, are more oriented to airline flight than
Then train.
train, and than Japan. Their cities are a little bit closer, and they've had wonderful train service for
Yes.
a long time.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
we found it to be
we're more an automobile country anyway.
Yeah.
US.
One of the amazing things about all the train
This
stations.
though, I have to ask you, this is looks like a lake.
It's a sea.
I think this is a strait between Hiroshima and the island of.
Well, Miyajima. I'm probably pronouncing
Did you
it
go to
wrong.
that island?
We
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
okay. We're gonna have pictures of that too.
Yeah, well, and this is the famous. There's a famous Torii Gate, and the Torii Gate I read is the demarcation between our world and the spiritual world, because there's a Shinto shrine on this island, and so this is kind of where the holy part begins.
That's
once you go
interesting.
through
they
that
I think
gate.
have a big. They talk much more as a society about the afterlife than we do as a society. Well, I don't know if that's fair. I mean, we talk about the heaven being the. I think their afterlife is different than our vision of the afterlife.
Oh, I think so. But they also talk about it in Japanese, so we didn't really. We couldn't understand. This is just a view from, I think, where the boat gets in down to the shrine, the Shinto shrine. And this is the pedestrian street that leads to the shrine. It's
Now, who took this picture of you two? That's not a selfie.
No,
No,
The
as
tour
somebody
guide?
who obviously had it in for my left arm.
yeah,
You can also sort
Oh,
of...
look at this with one of the deer sat next
Yeah.
to you.
yep. Well, the deer are pretty much photo ready. They
Oh, really?
hang out. They
Did you have to
pose.
feed them?
Well, no, you're not supposed
you're
to
not
feed
supposed
them
to, okay.
actually.
And they will eat a map if it's in your pocket.
Yeah, piece
and
of
hanging
paper
out,
and-
or
yeah,
any
yeah,
piece of paper.
yeah.
Oh,
There I am with 2 deer.
They look pretty fierce.
Right.
You can sort of get a sense of the size of the Torii Gate because underneath of it are tiny little people.
Yeah, it's enormous.
yes.
That
Yeah.
structure is probably 100 feet tall, I would say.
you're right.
Yeah.
Those are people.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah, and it's obviously low tide here, so you can sort of walk out to it. And high tide, apparently, a boat can go through the gates. It's really enormous.
Oh.
And this was just a creature, I guess, guarding the shrine. I just kind of liked its
A food dog. Related
whatever
to
it
a
is.
food dog.
It's very fierce and seems to have multiple tails. I just liked the look of it. This is a Shinto Temple maiden or a shrine maiden.
Oh, they have shrine
kind of a
maidens.
priestess.
Oh,
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah, and
Okay.
actually, I don't think I was supposed to take pictures
Oh,
of
okay.
the Shinto priest or the priestesses, but
Shrine maiden.
I did.
Okay.
Yep.
Well, I won't tell.
Yeah, all you people out there, don't turn us in.
This is Richard eating.
Right. Well, this is a specialty that's called Okonomiyaki, and it's kind of this omelet-like thing with cabbage and maybe oysters and
Japanese version of
noodles.
Fuyang.
And kind of,
Kind
yeah.
of was, yeah.
It was actually pretty tasty and
and-
quite
Richard
filling.
looks happy with it.
And filled with delicious oysters, which I guess are specialties.
That
of-
island, I think, did you see? I think they have oysters
Yes,
they raise
they
out
do.
there. Yes.
They do. Yep.
Yeah, the oysters. Oh, this is in Hiroshima right
Right.
now.
Yeah.
Okay.
Exactly.
And
I don't know if I'm saying it right. Hiroshima or Hiroshima?
Hiroshima or
Hiroshima.
And that's ground zero. That's a few hundred feet above there is where the first atomic bomb.
For those of us who, for our viewers who may be very young, this is what happened at the end of World War II.
right. August 6th, 1945.
Oh, wow.
Oh, no. I looked this up.
I say to myself, boy, this lady's...
No.
But the United States, in order to end World War II, and we were fighting the Japanese, we dropped, I believe, 2 atomic bombs in Japan. Nagasaki and
Hiroshima was the first one?
And
yeah.
the war ended shortly after that.
Yeah.
So,
I read something that said that apparently about 70,000 people were believed to have been killed immediately.
immediately.
And then another 70,000
From
died
radiation.
from radiation and
Yep.
burns and things like that.
But they've rebuilt it pretty good.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Except for Ground Zero, which
Where
is
they
kept
wanted to
just
leave
like
it.
that.
But
Right.
were
Exactly.
you surprised how the city's rejuvenated and were so modern? Like Hiroshima?
Well, they were completely modern,
Yeah.
mostly because they were
Right.
all
Obliterated.
firebombed in the war.
Yeah.
And they were quite modern.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very,
Yeah.
modern cities.
And school children, not surprisingly, school children make visits to Hiroshima, and I think these are woven cranes with like origami paper, and a crane means good fortune, and
So they leave these as a sign of
right.
good fortune. I
right,
got you.
right. And there's
Oh, this is
another
picture
view
of Ground
of
Zero.
Ground Zero.
Do
Yeah.
you know what that building was previously? I don't even know.
It was
like
some
a-
kind of scientific
Research building?
Exhibition hall or
Oh,
something.
really? Okay.
Basically, no.
All right.
So a municipal. Oh, this is pretty.
Yeah. The
Those are
dove.
tiny little cranes.
Yeah.
What are they?
They're
A little a bird, a
origami
crane.
Oh,
cranes.
really?
Yeah. And
that are
and then I guess
I don't know, glued into a design.
into a design,
mosaic.
right?
Oh,
And this is a memorial. If you can, the memorial to the people who died, and there's a museum there, and obviously the hope is that there is no more nuclear war and all
Well,
that.
yes.
But this you can see all the way through from this memorial all the way through to Ground Zero. It's a straight shot there. Food. I guess we were hungry when we got back, and this
I'm
was
getting hungry.
this is another bowl of ramen at another and another beer.
And I think that is the Japanese radish in the center.
Yeah,
I forget
just
the
so-
name of it. They do.
I don't know. Oh, daikon maybe.
Yeah,
Or
I think
daikon,
so.
Yeah.
Boy, she's
Yeah, but
Yes.
it was just so interesting looking. I mean, the
Yep.
presentation of the food was really lovely.
Did you find one thing I loved in Japan was we used to go to the restaurants and I couldn't read the menu, but they always had fake food made out
Yes.
of the plastic.
Good point.
And you could point.
Yep.
So even though I couldn't read a thing,
Yep.
you know, I'd say, "Oh, I want that, and I want that,"
Yep.
and they knew.
Yep. Exactly.
I don't know why American restaurants don't do that. You
I
walk into the restaurant, you'd see a big picture of the steak. All right, enough for me. This is what.
This is in Kanazawa. We visited a city called Kanazawa, and this is a garden there. It's regarded as one of the 3 most beautiful gardens in Japan for various reasons. But these were just workers who were probably pruning practically blade by blade, of grass. They're just really precise.
All by hand, I see.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, isn't that beautiful?
Yeah.
That looks like out of a movie.
Yeah, well, this bridge in this Kenroku-en garden is called the Flying Geese Bridge. If you look, when you see geese flying, it's kind of in a V shape.
Yep.
And this, if you notice, that's
Oh,
a V
I see.
shape.
The
That
bridge is
particular
V-shaped.
bridge. Yeah.
Our Museum of Art in Boston, I don't know if you've ever seen it, has a
Japanese garden.
Yes,
Yeah.
but not nearly
quite
as
like that.
spectacular. No.
And not on the scale of this garden.
No.
Yeah.
This garden was, I would say, acres in size.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a big artificial pond. I just thought pretty
So
azaleas.
what month was this you went with?
June.
June. So
Yeah.
it was a great time. All the flowers were out and everything.
Mhm.
Yep.
I was going to say you really had.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, and this is a crooked bridge. If you notice, it doesn't go straight. It hooks to the
Yes.
left. And apparently, that's because it's believed that evil spirits can only travel in a straight line.
oh, I'll keep that
So,
in mind.
yes.
When my mother-in-law comes to visit, I'll put myself in a
There you go.
shift.
Now.
Oh,
And this is a fountain in the garden, and apparently it is the pressure. It's just the pressure of the water flowing down the hill
oh,
that creates the fountain. There's no electricity or anything in there.
the gravity.
Yeah, and
Beautiful.
lanterns and things. It was just a pretty garden. Waterfall, and I think this whole water is artificially. I mean, it's man-made, but it's just
Looks pretty
so
real.
pretty.
It's
Yeah.
pretty real to me.
And guess what? We're back at the food market, but this one is in Kanazawa, and I think this might be seafood.
Looks like seafood.
Yeah. Yeah. And that was
Much
produce.
wider.
Yeah.
This is a much wider
Yeah,
floor space.
and it was much smaller too. But this was the sort of the produce. And if you notice up in the lower left corner, there are little netting around whatever
Yes.
those fruits are to protect them. I guess if you're going to invest however many thousand yen in a melon, you want it to be in perfect shape.
Yes, the wrap in it. Although I think in our country, the markets, this looks like crabs.
Yes, yep, crabs, and maybe some oysters in the foreground there. And this is, we had lunch at a sushi restaurant, and outside the sushi restaurant, they had the plastic,
The plastic
plastic
models.
sushi, yeah.
But we
It was-
didn't have to point because we had a guide,
We had a guide,
here also, and she was able to interpret for us.
Yeah, it was delicious, just
Oh, I
delicious.
remember the food is marvelous.
Incredibly fresh and delicious.
A lot of fried, what did they call it? Kyoza? I forget. It was like the fried pork cutlets and fried chicken.
That's actually, yeah,
Yes.
that was, there were restaurants that specialized in
Yes,
that.
I remember
Yep.
that. I remember that was so good.
Yep.
Of course, it's not hard to convince me I like the food, but
Now, this is the old part of Kanazawa, and what the guide told us there that I guess in other parts of Japan they're called geisha, the women
Yes.
who are very skilled at entertaining and all that. In this area, it's called the Gecko District, not geisha but Gecko, but it's the same sort of entertainment, and the buildings are very old. And there's a house that's been turned into a museum, and actually I could hear a Gecko practicing her music.
oh,
I never saw her, but I could hear her practicing while we were kind of wandering through this little museum. It's pretty neat. I just thought it was pretty.
it is. It is.
Beautiful fabric. And Kanazawa, apparently about 99% of the gold leaf made in Japan is made in Kanazawa. And these are little jars of gold leaf colored. And I just thought they were pretty. And we went into, Richard had gotten tired and gone back to the hotel. But it was pouring too. It was kind of
Well,
dreary.
you felt safe anyway, didn't you? Didn't you get a sense of safety in Japan?
Well, yes, and of course it helped that there was a guide also.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I always,
But the
even when we were on the
cabs,
subways at
Yeah.
10:30, 11 at night, I
Yes.
can remember we come back from something and
Yep.
they were crowded.
Yeah.
They were crowded, lots of people on them, but I always felt, relatively safe.
Oh yeah, and the cabs are pristine.
Yes.
The drivers wear white gloves. The cab is perfectly clean. Yeah, felt very safe. But I went to the Goldleaf Workshop, and here's one of the craftspeople working on the gold leaf that's incredibly thin. Way thinner. I don't know how thin, but much thinner than aluminum foil. But just so pretty. Neatly right next door to a souvenir shop.
Oh, look at this, more gardens.
Yes, now this actually was at the hotel in Tokyo where the wedding took place. This is the new Otani Hotel. And
Oh, okay, which we have in the United States. They're a chain.
yes, they are chained,
Yep.
But they've got this.
And they had
one
a
of the things
garden like this.
really
Wow.
a beautiful garden. Yep, that's.
Is this where the wedding was, at this
yeah.
garden? Oh.
No.
Oh.
Just at the hotel. There's kind of a wedding hall.
Okay.
At this.
Weddings are big in Japan. That's a
Yes.
big thing.
Yeah.
Well, there was, in addition to a wedding hall, there was actually a shrine. I guess it would be a temple in the hotel, which is where the ceremony took place.
Oh, okay.
And there were probably 5 or 6 maybe other weddings on that day.
So busy day.
In that same hotel. Yeah.
So, is Makiko from Tokyo?
A suburb of Tokyo.
A suburb of Tokyo.
Yes.
So, is it done the same way? You invite friends, family, and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
Now, if you look really carefully here,
Yeah.
you can see in the background Mount Fuji.
Yes, I do see it. Way in back.
It's rare to be able to see Mount Fuji from Tokyo because of pollution and smog. But on this morning, it
Of
was
the wedding.
visible of the wedding, so which we took to be
Oh, so was that
A good
considered
omen.
a good omen?
we thought it was good.
well,
omen.
we thought so. I don't know about anyone else.
Yeah.
But,
No, I would say, oh, look at this. This must
Yeah.
be
and
Yes.
this is
your son.
Andrew and Makiko.
Well, he
Yeah.
looked a little like the guide.
Yeah.
Oh, he did.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah.
And this is traditional.
Oh, this is the
dress,
bride.
right, for a Shinto wedding. This is what
okay.
a Shinto bride wears, and this is this
And
hood.
he's in a traditional outfit as so
Yep,
they had
absolutely.
Oh, okay.
Absolutely, yep.
Oh,
Even the way she holds the kimono up, the way she's holding
Yeah.
it there it was all very posed. And
So how did they meet?
In Brookline, they lived in the same apartment building.
It's just you.
Yeah.
You're in Tokyo in the wedding, and somebody. So how did they in Brookline at
Right.
the Golden Temple?
right. A mutual friend introduced them.
Oh,
and they
wonderful.
lived in the same apartment building.
Was
very
she in
convenient.
school here?
She was doing research at MIT.
Oh.
So I wouldn't say she was in school at that time.
Well,
but-
MIT's still school.
Yeah. But she basically worked there.
Like
Okay.
postdoctoral, she's pretty accomplished
What
in,
is
the, in
she?
the academic
What
department.
does she do in? day-to-day work?
Political science, the study of political science, particularly Japan, in particular
okay.
post-war Japan, and so she's.
I think they're going to have a snap election, which means, in other words, the current government is in question. The current president, prime minister is feeling insecure about things because I guess the economy is going backwards a little bit. So he wants to make sure, things get going. So he wants a quick election. Okay, we're in the ceremony room.
Right.
This is the ceremony, and I would say this is a shrine or a temple. And the ceremony, of course, was completely in Japanese, so we didn't.
Oh, it was in Japanese.
Oh yeah.
It was a Shinto ceremony.
Now, did Andrew have to get training for this?
He did.
Oh, he did. Okay.
And he.
So it's more than a rehearsal dinner; it's real training.
Yeah. Well, he memorized, or
he memorized a speech, I guess.
His vows.
His vows, I guess, would be more accurate.
It looks like a lovely room. Let me see if we have a few more photos of this. Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah. And then
Oh, and a cake.
all of a sudden we're at the reception, right?
Oh, okay. We moved from the ceremony to the
Right.
reception.
And the reception was a Western luncheon, a delicious Western meal with a cake.
Her folks planned the wedding, or they did it together, or
I would say it was more Maki who planned the ceremony, although her parents are local, and I'm sure they were involved. But I think this was mostly Maki's.
I know my daughter lives on the West Coast, and I'm always concerned that she's too far away. These folks must have said, "Wow."
Yep.
Although they certainly came to the Boston wedding, and that was
Her parents,
They did.
yeah.
Oh,
that
wow.
was very
that
nice.
was great.
Yeah.
It was great that they did that.
Yeah.
It's a hike. Oh, she changed
She
outfits.
changed. She
That's
changed.
beautiful.
And actually, the first kimono she rented, the white one, this is her own kimono.
Oh, it looks beautiful.
And the sash, the multicolored one, is called an obi, and I just thought it was so beautiful
It is.
that I just had to take a photo of it.
Actually, it's so beautiful that even I noticed that it was beautiful. I'm not terribly observant.
Well, what do the monks wear every day? Robes?
Nothing that colorful.
Sometimes robes, but often just regular clothes. They lie
really?
around in whatever they're comfortable.
Because I was going to say,
wearing.
usually when I picture monks, anyway, here's a family shot.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. And there's
That
a
really is
close-up of the obi. And in
So
general,
is this what a lot of the brides wear, this kind of kimono with all the colors and everything?
well, I guess they change into their own kimono. I'm
I
not
have
sure
to
what
tell
they...
you, it looks prettier than the standard wedding dress.
Oh, it's
I
beautiful.
mean, look at all the colors.
Beautiful.
It's just beautiful.
The interesting thing is, a woman can't dress herself in a kimono. You have to have some kind of attendant because there are so many layers and the knots and the way it's
really?
tied and all that. Yeah, it was pretty interesting. It's pretty ornate.
I didn't realize that.
Yep. Yep.
So they had the luncheon after the service.
Yep.
Oh, we're back. This is the hotel.
No, this was another park. We had some time off and took just a trip to another garden in the city of Tokyo, and there was, not surprisingly, a body of water and a bridge, but it was right in the middle of the city, and so
That might be the Imperial Gardens, where the palaces for the
I think
emperor.
actually it might be.
Yes.
It might be. Yep.
Which
Right,
is
it's a national garden. Yes, it was started as an imperial garden.
I think. Oh, look at you with the cat.
Oh yeah, we went to a cat cafe
Oh,
in Tokyo.
really?
Yes, a cat
I didn't
cafe.
even know there was such a thing.
Oh yes, you pay a little cover charge and you
Yeah.
get to play with cats for about an hour.
Really?
Yes, and I dragged Richard there. He was a very, very good sport, and we got to play with Japanese-speaking cats for.
I didn't even know there was such a cat
No,
cafe. And
yeah.
they fed you too?
No.
Just play.
In some of them you can order something, but we learned from my daughter-in-law that I think a Japanese cat says, meow or something like that, whereas an American cat says meow.
Oh, I see. They
Yes,
they
it's-
talk
it's-
differently.
Yeah. Yep.
So I'm thinking if the monastery thing doesn't work out, I can just open up a cat cafe.
Absolutely.
Right.
We'll get you some advertising.
Right. See, there were other people visiting the cat cafe, but they just kind of lie around and you play with them, and it's very, very entertaining. I
Is this
missed.
because what? Oh, look at that! Oh, is that cute?
Yeah.
They do a lot of the Japanese have pets in their buildings
Well,
and stuff?
they can't, and many people. It's
Oh, they
a
cannot?
big city, and there are lots and lots of people who live there, and a lot of apartments are very small,
And
so
they don't let
can't
you have the animals.
Well, I guess in some places that they
Oh,
don't.
so that's why you have these.
That's
Right.
why you have cat cafes.
Right, so you can get your cat
Oh,
fix by going to
okay.
a cat cafe.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
oh, isn't that something?
Yep. Yep.
So when you're in the mood to have a pet,
Yep. You go over and you pet the kitty.
I know I shouldn't bring this up, but I know in Japan they also rent, I think, grooms or something. You can rent parents and stuff. Yeah, like
that we did not investigate.
No, I read a whole
We
lot.
didn't see that.
I read a whole article. It was like this girl didn't have the right parents for the boy's wedding or for the wedding, so she went out and rented, another set of parents who would be appropriate for the.
Oh, that's funny.
Well, that's another business opportunity.
All right.
So I think the Japanese have a standard, rent your pet, you can rent parents, rent children. I think they have children too. And I think that was the article. Some guy, well, Bill, show some more pictures so I'll shut up. But there we go. Okay.
So we took a trip to, was it Hakone, where you can see Mount Fuji, except you couldn't.
Okay.
This was us climbing Mount Fuji.
Right, right.
Oh, of course, we were in a bus at the time, but
But so you can barely see. It says Mount Fuji, so I guess we're looking.
No,
at
I
Mount
can't
Fuji.
read a thing, but I'll take your word.
Yeah, it was smoggy or foggy.
no, it's fog.
Yeah,
That's
we
not
couldn't see
smog.
it. We couldn't see it. It was cold.
Oh, the Mayflower.
We were kind of wondering how this actually got into an inland lake in Japan, but
A
I guess.
pirate ship. These are like
Oh, it's a pirate
yeah,
ship.
these sightseeing cruise ships, and they're pirate ships, and they ply the waters of the Lake Ashi.
It's quite ornate. And I
right.
assume there's a dining room on it?
It's like a little ferry. It hops
okay.
from
so
port to
it's
port.
about a 15-minute ride.
Yeah,
Oh, all right.
It wasn't a long
And
ride.
no chance to eat.
No chance to eat. Usually they got a dining room.
Right.
Oh,
And these are I guess the equivalent of swan boats.
I was going to
on
say
the
they
lake.
look like swan boats.
Yep.
Wow.
Exactly.
Look at that. Actually, it looks like a very nice setting to have a house.
Oh, it's very beautiful.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
very beautiful.
Here's another. This was another pirate ship. There were multiple pirate ships on the lake at the same time.
Oh, so it's a big
It's
business.
a big business. Oh yeah, yeah.
Well, those boats are crammed with tourists.
And it looks like going up the mountain is what, a gondola ride or something?
There is.
Yes, I can see it.
Yep.
Oh, wow.
Which we actually ended up taking a little bit later. I don't know if there are pictures or not.
No, I don't
but
think so. I didn't include any.
Oh, so you took a ride up.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now, tell me a little bit, if you can, after the wedding, Andrew and Makiko, did they go on a honeymoon? Is that part of the traditional wedding package, so to speak?
They're still trying to work it out. They haven't quite settled on.
Okay.
Although last I heard, they're investigating a trip to Las Vegas.
They're living where? Back in Brookline?
They're in Brookline.
Okay.
Yes. But I'm
They
not.
could have a fourth wedding. Las Vegas, is great weddings.
Renew their vows.
They have renew the vows. They have
Yeah.
chapels.
Right.
Bill, you got a picture for me of a Las Vegas chapel there? We can. They'll do a fourth service.
Well, we're not going to be there.
Right.
No, Vegas, you'll have fun.
Well,
It gives you a good reason to go out there.
yes. But I'm not sure they've actually decided to do
Yeah.
this.
They must have a monastery somewhere in Nevada. You can.
There gotta be,
You can
yeah.
tell the brothers you're gonna look at
Something.
monastic works in Nevada.
Right.
Oh, here we go. This is a big egg. What is this?
It's a black egg.
Yeah.
In this area, there are active sulfur vents, and they cook eggs in the vents. Apparently, if you eat an egg, each egg gives you another 7 years of life.
Oh, okay.
So they actually insert the eggs into the sulfur vents, and when they come out, they're hard-boiled and black.
Oh, that's how they cook them.
Yeah, yeah.
And they want you to eat them?
Yes,
Did you?
No.
No. Neither one of you went for the
Well,
eggs?
there's something about, even in Chinese restaurants, those 1,000-year-old
Yes.
eggs. I really like eggs, but there's something about
Okay.
an egg
I could understand.
color black that
sulfur
distresses
eggs.
me. Yeah, but I kind of liked
No, it's a good photo.
the black egg.
And it explains what happened.
And they did have black egg ice cream.
Oh, really?
There was soft ice cream everywhere we went. A green tea ice cream.
Green tea ice cream I like.
I'm trying to think what other kinds, but
Well,
they definitely had black
We're
egg
kind of
ice cream.
suspicious of the black egg ice cream. We think it probably was chocolate.
Oh, I don't know.
Oh, really?
Oh, we didn't dare taste it.
Did you end up having a favorite food that you, after the trip, did you say, gee, I love this? He's got more pictures.
I don't know.
Oh,
Well, one thing we did was Maki's parents invited us to their house for dinner, and Maki's mother's a really good cook, and Andrew had talked about what a good cook she was, and in particular her fried chicken. So we were sort of hoping, and she cooked a lovely meal for us, which included her fried chicken, and it was really, that was my favorite meal. It wasn't.
I love fried chicken.
Oh yeah. Well, the whole
Pan
quite.
fried.
This isn't quite the
Not like
same
southern
chicken
fried.
that you're thinking
No.
of, but it was really very
It was
delicious.
delicious, and everything else she made was really good. And it was
That's a special
really good
treat.
home cooking.
Somebody like me who I don't know anybody per se in Japan, but it's an extra treat when you get invited into somebody's home and they cook for you
Yes.
the way they would,
Yes.
family.
Right. It was very gracious of them. They were very
I always end
hospitable.
up in restaurants, hotels,
Yep.
whatever. I don't know. Are we missing any photos? Bill,
I think there are a couple, just a couple more.
Oh, here we go. What is this? Hello Kitty?
This was a stuffed Mount Fuji.
Oh,
So I told Richard to stand at the top of Mount Fuji.
I
'cause
love that.
Probably
That's a
that was
great
as close
picture.
as we were going to get to getting to the top of Mount Fuji.
And I happen to be wearing the right shirt.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
On
Yeah.
that day.
And Fuji is smiling on us.
It looks Hello Kitty. I remember in Japan. Oh, and this is.
This was on the way back from the trip. We took the bus back, I think.
We took a bus back from Mount Fuji.
And driving us back to our hotel, this was the area called Shinjuku,
Oh yes.
which is
Big
kind of a
commercial
big
area.
commercial entertainment district, et cetera, at night. And it was just so bright and lively. I took a couple of photos of that. And I think that was actually our last day in Tokyo, and we left the next day.
So you were there how many days?
10?
I would say we were there 10 days.
Yeah.
Oh, it was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We wanted to get there well in advance of the wedding because we figured we would be sort of jet lagged for a couple of days and wanted to actually stay awake during the wedding. We thought that was important. so we did a little bit of touring around for several days in advance.
I think you had a fabulous trip.
We did.
It was an awesome trip.
Yeah.
I think, if anything, maybe, I know you spent quite a bit of time in Kyoto. Maybe you would go back and spend a little more time in Tokyo. It seems like you could have had a little more time in Tokyo.
Well, there's certainly plenty to see.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It was
So
great.
where are you going next? Do you two have any plans for the future?
Well, we're going to a Caribbean island called Nevis. which
Off
is-
of Venezuela.
No, it's much further north than that. It's much closer to Puerto Rico.
Okay.
It's kind of off the beaten track. It's a small island, and there's a resort there that we enjoy going to called Nisbet Plantation, which is
Okay.
kind of an old-time, very small, very to me, what's very appealing about this particular resort is there's nothing to do.
With this weather,
yeah.
I think everyone's ready to go with you. And
Yeah.
we're lucky we don't live in Buffalo. When this show goes on, we are talking today, Buffalo, New York had, I think, 6 feet of snow, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, what
So-
a nightmare. A year's worth of snow
A year- yes.
in a couple of
Yes.
days. Yeah.
So perhaps you'll share with us your Nevis trip
It'll
or
be-
some of your other trips. We'd love to have you come back.
No bathing suit shots, though.
No, please. I'd show them me in a bathing suit. They switch the channel, it gives them an excuse. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. That was
Thank
Thank you
you.
for having us.
My pleasure. It was a terrific. We'll have to bring in Andrew and Makiko from their honeymoon trip.
Ah,
You
right.
tell them, say you were on travels with Jack,
Right.
and Jack said he wants to invite you in because he wants to see the honeymoon.
Okay, we'll tell them.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much.